games and would often beat me soundly at them. It couldn't be a tribute to Bob without singing. So there'll probably be some of that too, I can guarantee. And what we really love for you to do as well is share your stories. Throughout BA Times over the past couple of weeks, I've asked people to share their memories of Bob, and within the Uncommon Leagues newsletter, there was a link this week for people to send things in as well. And the outpouring, as you can imagine, has been absolutely incredible. We've heard from people all over the world, and the one common denominator that everyone spoke of was how much Bob impacted their lives and how much he changed their lives for the better, mine included. You know, he spoke the truth. He sometimes told you things you didn't want to hear, but needed to hear. And the impact he made all across the globe has just been resonating around all of us. So thank you. Thank you so much for sending those in. And there's some people that we'll be calling on later. So thank you. So let's get started with things. Let's celebrate our Bob. And I'm going to throw things over to Paul Crosby right now. And he's going to talk to you about some stuff. So take it away, Paul.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about the Sing Your Life Foundation. And the Sing Your Life Foundation was established to continue on everything that Bob has done. And the mission of this foundation, it just speaks true to Bob and what he wanted to do, and what all of us at the Uncommon League, what we all want to achieve. And one of the things that we're going to be focusing on, and that I'm really excited about, is the Badass Award for Outstanding Analysis, Courage, and Leadership. I'm really excited to be participating and having you guys participate in that award. More information about that's going to be coming out here real shortly. We also are building curriculum for schools and nonprofits as a part of the foundation to help teach leadership, critical thinking, and analysis skills to the younger generation, the high school, the first 2 years of college type folks, and getting them interested in this wonderful career path that we have as business analysts. And we're also giving out scholarship awards for analysis and critical thinking and leadership training programs, so that we can help folks get into the training that they need to be successful in this career. We're continuing our support through the foundation for nonprofit organizations like the IIBA and other nonprofit organizations out there to build stronger communities around analysis. And we're really super excited about it. And the one thing that Bob always said to me, he said, we focus on people first, and the rest just comes next. If you take care of people, they will take care of you. And really, that's what this foundation is here for. It's to help people. It's to help the analysis community. It's to help bring about a change in a very positive way to a lot of great folks out there. And that's what we're really hoping to have happen through this foundation. So do check us out at singyourlife.org. We would greatly appreciate any donation. That if you don't have to donate, that's not a requirement, but if you would like to, you can do so at singyourlife.org. There's a little donate button down on the first page there. We would greatly appreciate any and all donations to help us continue our mission in providing all that great stuff. And I'll throw it back to Amy.
I'm actually I think we're going over to you right now, Hans, aren't we?
Thank you so much. And it is my honor to be MC for this event. Originally, when we were putting the conference together, Bob and team had envisioned doing a roast of Bob as a way of really recognizing his life, but doing it in a real fun way. And one of the hard parts is everyone was a little terrified of roasting Bob because we knew we were going to get out roasted by him in the end. So instead, it was going to be a combination of roast and stories. And that's kind of the format we're going to follow a little bit here. So first tonight, Vince joins us from the beautiful Toronto area. If America is a child that thinks it's funny that we keep getting bailed out of jail, Canada is the child that keeps taking names in class. Vince once spent 4 hours in a requirements review. All the stakeholders kept saying sorry for so long, nobody would approve anything. Vince is that annoying guy who watches you do something, then immediately can do it better with less effort. When I first met him on the conference circuit, he was eager to take his ideas and presentations to the next level. In less time than it takes for millennials to be offended by a meme or a statue, he was already doing keynotes. While I was teaching people how IT projects resemble the zombie plague, he taught people how to slay their personal and organizational dragons. Vince is a true pioneer and thought leader. Never content with the status quo, he takes enterprises and audiences to new levels. The only thing greater than his modesty is his strength of character and vision. So grab your lance and shield. It's time to slay dragons with our very own Vince Mirabelli.
Holy crap, how do you follow that up? Jazz hands! Thanks, Hans. So great, I get to go first. I don't know that I've actually dealt with this yet, so this might not go well for me, but it might be extra funny for you. I was the most terrified of roasting Bob, just because I always tend to take things a little bit too far. As I've sort of shared with a few of the folks in the Uncommon League and with Paul, I always felt like a little bit of the little brother of the group. Despite, as I said earlier, for those that were in the conference today, I'm a grown ass man, and yet I still felt like the little brother. But I wanted to sort of share a couple stories that I think captured the type of person that Bob was and the relationship that we had. So, I mean, I'm going to go back to the first time that I met Bob, and Amy, you were there. It was actually the first time that I was traveling for a conference. It was to Vancouver. I was very excited, and then ran into Amy on the street of Vancouver, just outside the hotel, and she said, "Do you know Bob?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I know who Bob is. Bob was the keynote at that conference. Like, oh my God, I'm about to, I'm all aflutter. I'm about to meet the keynote." And I remember the look on Bob's face when he was introduced to me made me feel like such a piece of crap. And it was like, and it's not his fault. He was standing about 2 steps up on a staircase and was just like looking down at me, and I felt so small. And then, and it was that, and I'm like, I thought this guy was so nice. He's such a douche. But that was obviously, an initial meeting before I really got to know Bob. I didn't know this, but he told me after that he had sort of been watching the way that I worked the room, the way that I did my presentations, and so we when he I guess decided to see if I was interested in doing some of the uncommon stuff, I remember having dinner in a pub in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I kind of knew where it was going. And so it was one of those, and I remember Jen was there, and Paul was there, and Hans was there, and it felt like a pitch dinner. Like, okay, hey, I want to lay out the vision for what we're gonna do, because Bob was very, and I think this is where we really connected. He was very strategic, probably more strategic than I am. And so he was like, I want to lay out the vision. I want a thing, and at that point, my pulled boar poutine came to the table, and I said, "Okay, just stop. Whatever it is, I'm in. Like, I don't care. I don't need to hear the spiel. I'm in. Like, I'm in. You're done. Like, you don't need to sell to me." He would probably come to regret that when it came to the first Uncommon conference, which we did last year in Minneapolis. It was that day that I got a phrase. So Bob said something that was a phrase that stuck with me, and I've actually taken as a point of pride. He said that Vince will never break the rules, but he will find a way to bend them to his will, to make the rules do what he wants. And so it was not surprising then that I mean, obviously my team won the inaugural championship at the Uncommon Conference, and I ran into Bob on the way out, and he was so pissed. He swore at me. He was, yeah, Shannon was on that team. I remember. Peggy, yeah. He was so angry that I won. And I was like, I was back to feeling like that first time that I met him, where I just felt so small. And like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I kicked your ass that day. I'm sorry that we dominated that conference. But he in a sense, he was right. I figured out, and I coached my team to win without actually breaking the rules. So I mean, that was sort of, that was the relationship in one moment. And I know he was angry. But you know what? I didn't care because I won. Bob was Bob is a titan in our industry and in our profession. I mean, that doesn't change. So yeah, to Bob. Cheers.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you.
Next up is Paul. Paul is what you would get if Einstein had married a garden gnome. According to the project schedule Paul put together for today, I can see that I only have 42 seconds left to deliver 8 minutes of content. I'm not saying that Paul's overly organized, but he wallpapered his new office with sticky notes. Paul's work philosophy: if enough is good, then more is better. Leave no stone unturned, leave no dead horse buried, and never, ever, ever miss a deadline. Paul is not only an operational force behind the scenes, but equally as comfortable leading us to new heights. He turns brilliant ideas into masterful prose and compelling presentations. Paul has a heart of gold and a beard of silver. So put your Gantt charts down. It's time for Santa Paul.
Santa Paul has dyed his beard a little bit.
Oh, Santa Paul, look at how handsome and young.
It's all fake. We're rocking and rolling in it anyway. Thank you, Hans. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I remember when Bob started Bob the BA, and we had that conversation about, oh my God, you're I was still in corporate America. He decided that he was going to go independent and start his own company, and we had that conversation, and it was fun, right? But it was scary because we had all this good stuff that we had happened in corporate America. We had the cushy job, we had the benefits, we had all the great stuff going on, and here he was telling me, I'm going to risk everything. That would be the lawnmower happening there.
Sorry, I had to cut my grass.
Someone's shag carpet got too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the shag carpet. And it was this thing, and it was at that moment that I realized that what was holding me back was my own fear. It was my own fear of this security blanket that I had. There was only one way to make money. There was only one way to exist. There was only one way to live, and he was really good about that. And there it is. So, choked up. Sorry. But, here's to a great guy. Cheers.
Hugs to you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Next up, we have Amy. Amy is what would happen if an Energizer Bunny was powered by social interactions. She's a personal hurricane that brings people together and closes down almost every gathering. Without missing a beat, she's back up at 5 a.m. to make sure everything is perfect for her conferences. Coca-Cola should seriously consider naming their new coffee after her. Amy has connected so many friends at conferences, she actually qualifies as a social networking app at this point. If you've ever made a good friend and a lifelong friend at one of her events, then you've been Amy'd. I remember the night Bob, Amy, and I became great friends. It's just amazing how 3 people can bond over really bad food. Amy has helped launch more speaker careers than statues have been upgraded with googly eyes. Seriously, Amy is a true superhero. She's organized. She has the organizational skills of Paul, the energy of Bob, and the warped mind of Jen, Vince, and myself. She is one of those rare, genuine people that you just can't help but love. She stands in the center of the storm and pulls everything and everyone together. So let's give it up for the karaoke queen herself, Miss Amy.
Why, thank you, Hans. Okay. When we decided that we were going to do this, I have been spending the past couple of weeks with a little notepad beside me. Oh, and by the way, look, it's Project Whirlwind. Sure, you'll have one of those. Writing down stories about Bob and, which ones I would tell. And in reviewing them, I realized probably only 2 are appropriate. The rest are all offside. So I'm going to share 2 quick stories, fun stories about our friend. The first one, I call the Margarita story. And this was 2 years ago. Myself, Paul, and Bob went down to Atlanta to visit Hans. And Hans took us out into the woods to do things. And it was really fun. And then we went back to Hans's place in Athens, out in the woods, cabin in the woods. And he was putting away all the things. And Bob and I decided to entertain ourselves while we were waiting. We were going to play ping pong. And Hans said, all the food's over there. There's drinks, help yourself. And so I decided I was going to make Bob and I margaritas. Now, Hans, by the way, does not do anything small. So when I went into the bar, there's these ginormous, huge jugs of Kirkland everything, you name it, and it's there. There was margarita mix and there was tequila. Now, I'm from Canada. When you shop at Costco, they don't put alcohol in your margarita mix. I didn't know that they actually do in the good old US of A. So here I am, tequila, margarita mix. I go in, let's play some ping pong. And Bob and I start playing and it's, friendly banter back and forth, boom, 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 boom. And we start getting really competitive with each other. We're getting angry and calling each other names. And it's like, I'm making another drink. Back into the kitchen. Out comes the margaritas. 5 minutes later, the balls are going and hitting Paul, hitting the grandfather clock all over the place. Yeah, so thanks to Hans pouring us into the car, we made it back to Atlanta, and that would be the margarita story. Which was it was a fun day. If I can very quickly, I also want to share a mutual love that Bob and I have, and that's of George Takei. And many years ago, we were running an event in New York City, and George Takei's Broadway show Allegiance was showing, and the three of us had tickets to go. We were going down a little early before the conference started, and for some reason I can't remember now, I wasn't able to make it. Paul and Bob went, and I couldn't. And it was very, very disappointing. And ever since that day, Bob and Paul have both poured gifts of George Takei all over me. I have George Takei everything. But the following year, we were back in New York City, and Bob was doing his keynote. And usually after I introduce the keynote speaker, I'll run out of the room and do whatever and busy myself about. And Hans was insistent I stay in the room. You have to stay. You have to stay. And he's added something new. He's added something new, and you can't miss it. And I was, okay, all right, I'll stay to watch. Jen, this is where I want to share my screen. Do I just hit share? Okay.
So yes, you should be able to. I'll double check and see if it should be fine.
Okay.
Let me put on my reading glasses.
Stop.
Oh, stop it. Stop it, you're being silly.
I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right one. Okay, ready? Ready? Here we go.
All good to see you. And just, I wish you Amy. I don't want to Amy, this is George Takei. I wish you well. Oh, wow.
And that was that. They were at to see us play. They weren't even going to see us play. They were seeing something else. And Bob heard that voice in line behind them at the bar. Isn't that right, Paul? And he said to George Takei, he goes, I know you're not going to like this, but I want to, and I hate to bother you. And George Takei said, but you're going to anyway, aren't you? Yes, I am. And had to shoot that video. So, that's the kind of friend he was. So pretty awesome.
That was hilarious. Yeah. It was standing there with my iPhone recording as George had said in the beginning, hi, Paul, standing behind the camera. It was a great experience. It was hilarious. And it was even more funny to watch you at the conference, see that on the great big screen.
Oh, I freaked right out.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
And then the two of you met him again. And I have video of that, which we won't go through that again, I promise. And you had him sign a picture, which you gave me for my birthday last year, that was framed, and it was absolutely beautiful, and I cherish it. So
that was hilarious. Yeah, Bob was like, okay, we're gonna wait in line 2.5 hours to get George to get
He's the best person ever.
Right, who are we doing this for? We're doing it for Amy. And I'm like, okay, it's for Amy. I'll stand in line for 2.5 hours to get an autograph. Anybody else? Not happening.
Yeah, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, but it is a treasure.
It's a treasure, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it back to Hans.
Thank you, Amy. That was wonderful. So a little bit about Bob. It's my turn to go. And Bob the BA, a man whose talent and persona was so well known, he joined the fame of one-name celebrities like Cher, Madonna, Doctor Who. Doctor Who, you ask? Don't ever let Bob hear you say that. One of Bob's secrets was he was actually a Doctor Who Time Lord, and he already knew what was going to happen. Even back in 1999, Bob was saying, oh, you think Y2K is bad? Just wait for 2020. By the time we get to Murder Hornets, it's all going to seem like a really bad joke. And speaking of bad jokes, I don't even want to tell you who's president. You may wonder why Bob dyed his hair such vivid colors. He was really worried he wouldn't stand out because of his quiet personality and overwhelming shyness. Bob was actually really bad at hide and seek growing up. All you had to do was start singing a song with the wrong lyrics, and he'd pop out and start telling you how it was really supposed to go.
I'm supposed to be on mute. I just can't do it.
I intentionally came off mute because that deserves a laugh. That was awesome.
Thank you. I don't know if you knew, but Bob actually auditioned for The Voice. Even though he would have crushed the competition, they didn't accept him. They actually said that his story wasn't interesting enough. Excuse me, what? Whose story are you looking for? Anne Frank? The Blind Side? James Doohan? Bob actually has more accomplishments in his life than the Kardashians have posted selfies. He triumphed over more adversity in his life than all of us will ever have to experience, thankfully. Through all of this, he was so successful that even Trump tried to take credit for his work. Bob was a really great man. So great, one of the greatest of all time. Kind of like that boxer guy who said something like that. Only in America, maybe in Canada, probably not. Could you find such a great, maybe even the best American? I asked him to join my cabinet, but Bob said, no way. The only cabinets I want are the ones in my new house. So speaking of Bob, who thinks Bob actually would have made a really wonderful president? For one thing, he would only give us the honest truth. Can you imagine him in press conferences going, no, I'm sorry. The Hague is not in Sweden. Go back to Fox News or CNN and send me someone competent. And although I think it would have been really fun to see his pups curled up in the corner of the Oval Office during a press briefing. I guess Air Force One would have been just a minor upgrade for him, though. Before a flight to a conference, I raced in line, as they called my boarding group, and Bob and Paul are just sitting back and relaxing, and I kept looking at them really confused, and Bob's just got this giant grin on his face. And then I realized why when I could barely see Bob and Paul from the very back of the plane as they grabbed 2 first-class seats. Well, I could almost see them from my row with Chad 5 screaming children who were high on sugar. Bob had an unerring honesty and directness about him. He'd even tell the Queen of England that pantsuits went out in the Middle Ages. And we're talking to you too, Hillary. If Bob hadn't been a BA or a professional singer, he could have had a career as a lighthouse. He was a shining beacon protecting us from uninformed stakeholders and career-limiting moves. And much like a lighthouse, he held no judgments when a leader sank their ship. He just made sure that everyone got to see their failure so that others could learn from that mistake. Bob's advice to me had become so routine, it was almost like we were in a catchphrase on a reboot of Three's Company. Every time together, Bob wouldn't even say hello. He'd say, Hans, you're wasting your life and your talent. What are you going to do about it? And I'd tell him the same thing every single time. I don't have time to do anything else. I'm too busy forwarding funny memes. Bob didn't just see ability. He saw potential and the paths to achieve it. Where other people ate marshmallow fluff, Bob made baked Alaska. Sorry, I had to Google at least one food reference for Bob in this tribute, and I had to at least add one sorry for our Canadian guests. Many of you know that Bob was a foodie. He's what would happen if Columbo and Paul Prudhomme had a prodigy love child. Just like a project manager perfectly balancing a schedule with over 40,000 tasks, or a BA creating a requirements document twice as long as War and Peace, Bob was able to decompose every ingredient of the food he ate and how they could be assembled into a perfect combination. For him, Food was a journey, just like everything else in life. It was a process of discovery, constantly searching for something new and something exciting. It was my honor and privilege to be part of this journey of discovery. Bob was a role model, an inspiration, and a beacon we should all strive to become. Even more, Bob was a dear friend and mentor. The hardest road to take is to step out of our comfort zone, to care enough to lead, to try and make the world a better place. Making every interaction, every opportunity, making our own opportunities when the path isn't clear. I'll never be able to repay Bob for what he meant to me. The best I can do is try and share his lessons and values with as many people as I can. When Bob hopped back into his blue phone booth to continue his journey through time, he went with the knowledge that every life he touched will carry his torch further. Thank you, my friend. We'll take it from here. Now, we have a video we'd like to share. Hang on. Nope, we're doing it right.
Okay.
Bob's making me do it over, damn it. I
I'm
scrolled
sorry.
too fast. Hey, as you noticed, Jen's here today.
But you know, see, yeah, just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I got to burn you too. Hey, if you've ever had a chance to meet Jen, then you know everything about her kids and their last 5 dance recitals, even though the last 3 have been done in their living room. Jen has been known for years as the out-of-box BA because Out of Your Mind was already trademarked by Kanye West. My apologies to Jen for including her in a reference to Kanye West. No decent human being deserves that comparison. Jen is what would happen if an art supply store became sentient. When her kids go back to school in her district, the school system asks her to borrow her markers, glue, and foil stars. Unfortunately, her husband ate most of the glue. He misunderstood a customer experience requirement asking that the app become sticky. Jen transforms common techniques into compelling experiences. Not only does she think out of the box, she turns that box into a work fort to make our jobs just a little bit more enjoyable. Harnessing the power of mom and unleashing change for a better world, Jen runs at full speed even when she's sleeping. So let's break out a fresh box of color crayons and glitter glues and a big apology for skipping her before and give a loud pirate "Arr" for Jen Batten.
Oh, thank you, Hans. And what's very, very funny is that my first little note about some of my most special memories of Bob, or the things that stick out to me, are they're definitely positive, but at the same time, there's some spin to it. And Bob and I are very fond of saying, and I will continue to say this, that we're the same person. He called me his sister from another mister. We were definitely the Wonder Twins because we truly are the same person. We have the same personality type. So much so that very early on in our professional relationship, before we became the great friends that we are today, I was called Mini Bob. And that wasn't meant as a compliment. It was meant that I was trying to steal his thunder or move ahead earlier than people thought I was ready for, and I was grabbing onto his coattails. And I believe I remember the moment when Bob and I were in one of our favorite little restaurants very close to the company where we worked. We were at Patrick's, for those of you in the Twin Cities area. We were at Patrick's for lunch, and he said, "No, damn it, you're not me. You're different, and you have to be different, and you just have to figure out what makes you different." And it took me another couple of weeks at least to get to the point where I wrote, and I have it in the notebook. I shared it with him not too long ago. I found my notebook, Bob, that says at the top of the page, "I am different from Bob because," and I filled in that statement, which is really hard to do because at the same time, we are the same person. We are the same level of energy. We will happily squirrel on whatever topic you would like us to squirrel on. We are both known for being very shy, very quiet, unassuming people. It's hard to get us to come out of our shells, but we still have so many other gifts to give and to carry on a lot of what's important to us, right? One of my other favorite fond commonalities or memories with Bob is Bob was very much what he would call the WYSIWYG, right? What you see is what you get. He wore his heart on his sleeve. And if he was happy, gosh darn it, you knew it, right? And he was excellent at finding perfect gifts, perfect moments. Some of you might have been at one of the Project World events in Boston. I can't remember who came by as we were sitting in the restaurant, and Bob made me sit down, and he had me close my eyes and hold out my hands because he's like, it's no big deal. It's just a little thing I picked up. I thought of you as soon as I saw it. And he handed me this. I hope you can see it. It is a leather unicorn purse. I fluttered. I Kermit flailed. I squealed in the lobby of the Burlington Marriott. I was not ashamed. I was thrilled because it's so perfectly me. About, I don't know, Paul, a month ago, maybe, Bob had a little hospital procedure that he had to go in for. And I had already been working with Paul behind the scenes because many of you might know this, you might not. Bob collected dragons, and he loved to find, and I've been on shopping trips with him. He did not just find any dragon. He looked for the different dragon, the amazing dragon. It had to be special in some way. And let me tell you, I am a menace with the internet and a credit card, because something flew across my feed in social media, and I was like, yep, I know who needs that. I bought Bob a 5-foot-tall dragon that is motion activated and growls. And so while Bob and Paul were at his 15-minute hospital appointment, 15-minute doctor's appointment, my husband and I were maniacs running into the backyard, assembling this dragon and to tell you how big it is, guys, if you've ever seen a minivan, the dragon filled up the entire back of the minivan. Like literally, I'll see if I can find a photo. It's absolutely insane. And we convinced Bob, so they caught us. We were almost ready to leave, and Paul said, no, stay. So we stayed because I was there for a reason. Bob knew we had an alibi. We had it just in case. Bob came, and Paul says, I think there's something that I think there's something you need to go into the backyard for. And he's like, oh, so they weren't just here to pick up the pens, right? I was actually picking up Bob pens. And he went around the corner of the yard, and I kid you not, he did this like a little child and just started giggling. And that is actually, Shannon, I will share the little note that, so the dragon wrote a note for Bob explaining his name. And its name ends up being WTF, also known as What the Flock, WT Flock. And the reason the dragon came to live in that particular area was to kill the squirrels, to chase them away, and do all sorts of fun and exciting things. And I love seeing that little bit of joy, that little moment. And I have a little video that he shared with his mother that he also sent to me. And Hans won't be the only one to cry here. And then somebody else is gonna have to handle this while I go to the video. So I've got a last little bit, and it's it's a little bit of a struggle because I miss him. And I don't even think I can go on with what I want to say. So instead, I'm gonna just hit the share button, and I'm gonna look for my other screen. I'm going to I'm gonna just move some stuff here. Let's see, because I wanted to get to and now that I'm crying, this will be appropriate. And if I can possibly say the other words, I will, but I don't think I can. So here's the video that Daniel created for us. I'll just be quiet now.
Room without a room.
Bob.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm fantastic. Hey, everyone, it's Bob the BA. How are you? We're here in the middle of Georgia, in the woods, trying to determine what the requirements are for shooting zombies. So all of our best buds are here. We have Amy Riddell, Paul Crosby, Hans Ekman, and myself. And, you know, what are your requirements when you need to shoot a zombie? I'm not sure what that is yet, but we're going to update you as we progress with this, and we'll see if requirements actually matter when you're shooting a zombie. My superhero power is badass business analysis. I don't take no for an answer. I fight for the voice of the customer and requirements quality for everyone. What's in your head? In your head? Zombie, zombie, zombie. Because I'm happy, 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 happy.
We missed you a lot at the game, and we hope to see you next time. Love you much. Bye-bye, darling.
So yes, very, very special thanks to Daniel for putting that together for us.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel, are you wearing
Thank
are
you,
you wearing
Daniel.
are you wearing a special costume for us? I'm sorry, I have to.
Special costume? I should have had the Chewbacca thing on.
Are you? I couldn't tell if you
costume.
did. I didn't tell. We were you guys, many of us are wearing, you know, Star Wars stuff. We're wearing, you know, we that's another thing that I personally think is fabulous is that for those of you who come to Uncommon League events, and, you know, poor Amy, I'm sure she has to deal with all sorts of questions when the Uncommon League shows up to any of her events, because we wear jeans, we wear t-shirts, we wear tennis shoes, because you know what? It doesn't matter what you wear. It's about the knowledge that you share, right? So I think we have a couple of additional folks that would like to, Amy had some information. Were you gonna pop this over to a couple of other people before we get into, you guys, the crying is gonna end, and there will be some shenanigans. Let me be very, very specific here.
Yes,
So,
Amy, fry.
yeah, I'm like, I'm not even gonna, the notebook has additional information. I'm not even dealing with it. So we're gonna enjoy ourselves. So I think I'm like, I'm done. But literally, I just threw a notebook across my room. I'm so glad no one else was in the room. So Amy,
Well, I take my child to the hospital after getting impaled by a unicorn leather purse.
a full-blown notebook, let's be honest.
One
So
of the
guys,
disclosures that we have to have, that we disclose that no children were harmed in the making.
yeah, there's no one behind me. Every once in a while they do kind of try to sneak in, but not right now, not at this moment. So Amy has shared some links for you guys to share your memories, share information, share how Bob reached out to you, what he means to you. And I know that means, that was my ending thing, was how much it meant to him. And hearing that. So please do, because it matters to all of us. So Amy, you should call on somebody else now.
Okay. I will. So as I said earlier off the top, we've been asking people to submit their stories or their experiences of how Bob has impacted them and changed their life. And the outpouring was incredible. We asked a few people if you want to, and we asked people if you wanted to say something, please leave your name. And most people were just happy to share the story anonymously. But there's a few people, and I see one of them here, and I'm going to throw to him in a second and just give a little precursor to that. Jen was talking about the Project World and BA World events that I run, and I've been doing that for a very long time. And we've sort of formed a group, a clique, I guess, that's open to anyone. Was we travel to city, we sort of all travel together. In each city, we have our friends, and it's become like camp. I call these conferences camp because it's not work. It's so much fun, and you're surrounded by people that you just love and adore. And the person who wants to speak, we met at Camp Business Analyst World Atlanta, and it's Mr. Clinton Ages.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
So Clinton would like to share some words.
Yes, thank you so very much. I kind of wanted to open up my share by showing something on the screen. And this is an email from Bob. Can everyone see my screen okay? Email from Bob back in 2015, where he was making sure that Alba, who was currently running the Professional Development Day in Minnesota, making sure that I was going to be a speaker to work with them. Bob was an inspiration to me personally. He was the first time I remember meeting him. First of all, his reputation preceded him most definitely. The first time we met him, we were trying to book him to come to Atlanta to speak at one of our chapter meetings. And so actually, Jen, I think you may have even come down with him, and Hans, you were a member of the chapter at the time. And after Bob delivered his message, I mean, first of all, he was awesome, and I was just impressed beyond measure with the video that you guys had put together and all of those other things. And afterwards, he came up to me as only Bob could, because at that time I was the chapter president, and he was saying, I was like, wow, man, that was pretty good. I'm really impressed. He said, I think you have a talent for this. He said, I think this is something you should pursue. He said, there aren't a lot of black BAs, and let's just make it plain. You are a black BA, and so by going out there and putting yourself out there, you're going to be expanding the practice for business analysis. And so that's just the kind of guy that Bob was. He was the kind of guy that first he would probably say something that if you didn't really know him really well, you might get offended. But he was definitely a loving individual, and I was very saddened to hear that his light has transcended to another level. And I appreciate being a part of this. I appreciate being a part of the crew, even though I didn't get invited to be a part of the Uncommonly. I mean, I'm gonna have to have a conversation about that. But regardless, I definitely have. Yeah, Jen. I thought we were tight. So,
And not just anybody gets to join the league, man.
I
I mean, you know,
I thought I wasn't
They,
just
there's
anybody,
full
right?
corporate team involved.
coach, in defense, they needed to expand the geographic space, so they needed a Canadian.
Yeah, I got
So,
you.
so sorry, my man.
It's just Minnesotans.
If you had been born in like Ottawa or Toronto, you were in, brother.
It was
You were in.
Good job. All right. No, but seriously though, no, I love all of you guys. I enjoy all of the interaction we have, and thank you, Amy, for being that sun that this universe revolves around.
Oh, you.
That's beautiful, man. Holy.
Thank you, Clinton.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jen Bedell had mentioned that she wanted to share a few words, but I'm not sure if she was able to make it on time. I haven't seen her. Jen, are you here? It would appear not. Is there, I see a bunch of our friends out there. I see you, Siobhan in Vancouver. I see you, Scott Helmers. Is there anyone who'd like to share a quick word? Hi, Kevin. Steve Jones. Oh my gosh, so many people. It's just absolutely amazing. Jenna the Florist. Anyone?
I have a funny story if you want to, oh, sorry. I don't know who else is just going to go.
Yeah.
My name is Laura. I actually met some of you guys in Burlington a couple of years ago. And this is not the story I sent last night. I sent like a little thing I wrote, but I met Bob when we were doing a icebreaker event, and he asked everyone, what is the one thing you would take if you were stranded on a desert island or deserted island? The group dynamics that we had were a whole bunch of women. There were like 2 or 3 guys. And so he's going through and he's trying to guess like who put what, like who said that they were going to take, a book on how to make a boat and who's going to do whatever. And he found my Post-it, which said my wife, but he looked at the 2 guys and he goes, is this yours? And the first guy says no. And the second guy says no. And Bob's like, what the hell? Did somebody put this by accident? Did one of you guys make 2? Are you lying? And I finally put my hand up and I'm like, oh no, actually it was mine. And he goes, well, damn, you just broke my streak. I had everybody right up until you. He'd been able to guess everything that everybody had. It was super funny because he came up to me after and he was like, I'm so sorry. I hope you weren't offended. I'm gay, so I don't know why I assumed that only, the guys were going to have put my wife. And I was peeing myself because here's this, tremendous character. And he was so apologetic. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I assumed that, blah, blah, blah. And I was laughing my head off. I'm like, man, it's fine. Like, it's totally cool. And we ended up having a lot of good jokes. And I met Paul a couple of years later in Chicago. It was very funny. Like the whole thing was just quite amusing. And he ended up working at Boston Scientific as a consultant for a long time. And we made a lot of jokes at Bob's expense. And every time that we had a future event, I always threw something ridiculous into it. When he's like, all right, everybody put up requirements, I would be like, the system must be able to spontaneously play, 30 seconds of Rent music every 2 hours or something ridiculous. And he was always like, this is Laura. Yeah, no, okay, now I got it. Like, now my streak is good. I'm going to get them all. So it was a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that you guys put this together. I think this is really, really nice for everybody. And, I don't know all of you guys, but I hear your stories and I'm just like, yeah, checks out. that sounds about right. So thank you to all of you guys for putting this together. I think it's really great.
All right. I said, so Lynn's up next, and then Jamie, and then so we have this planned for 2 hours, you guys, and I know we could probably all talk about so then we'll hit Michelle, just because I missed you. I'm sorry, Michelle. We'll tag you on to the last of that little group there. Sorry. And I'm channeling my inner Canadian here, because let's be honest, Bob didn't really want the, candlelit vigil or things like that. So we're going to have a game night. I even have some of Bob's games as well. So he liked to make stuff tough. He always gave me a hard time that my trivia was way too easy. So I tried to channel a little bit of my Bobness to do some of that. So we want to have a little bit of fun as well, and then we do have a plan for the end. So I don't know how long it's all going to take. So I definitely want to get to you. So Lynn was up next.
Hi, thank you, Jen, and everyone. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak about Bob. I have one memory that I feel like is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And the one thing I'd like to say about him, he always put others before himself. I was fortunate to be able to speak with him on the Wednesday before he passed away. And he shared, despite his struggle with cancer and his illness and dying, he still didn't want to let people down. I had called him and said, I wish you at work. Could really use your guidance coaching on. And he called back. He said over and over, going concern, give me actionable items, get me unstuck, and move me forward. And I mean, Bob was dying, but here he was ready to help me out and help me. I will just always remember how brave, intelligent, and caring, and what a great leader he was, and look to his example as I move forward in my career and my life to be a little more like Bob, and just great inspiration and stuff.
All right. Yes. Okay. Wait, I forgot who I said next. I'm sorry. I know I said Michelle, but I said somebody before Michelle. So I forgot. So
and this is why we have a PM in charge.
It was Jamie.
Jamie
Moore.
Thank you.
Me. She's right there. Call on Jamie. She knows the answer.
My screen is in speaker mode, so not like Jamie is super big on my screen. So wait, I'm sorry, Jamie, I have to ask, is that yarn behind you?
Yes.
Oh,
I love
no.
it. Okay, sorry. Tell me more. What memory would you like to share about our beloved Bob?
Yeah, no yarn and knitting now, please.
Well, part of my story actually includes that, so Jen will be very happy.
Okay, then you're allowed, but Jen is not.
We won't let Jen get on the topic of yarn.
No, because then we will be here until like 10 o'clock tonight. Enough with the Jen and knitting.
Yeah, 10? Yeah, no, it'd be way past 10. It'd be way past 10.
Jamie, later, honey.
So I actually met Bob prior to becoming a BA. I met him, I think it was 2013 or 2014 at Project Analyst World. I was an admin, so I worked actually with Laura way back when. And I had gone to the local Boston chapter's evening that Bob did a speech at. And afterwards, I walked up to him and I said, Bob, it's the first time I'm meeting you. Your talk was fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm an admin and, I'm trying to make the transition. And he just looked at me and goes, yeah. And I went, oh, okay, like everybody else is so super shocked that I'm this admin trying to become a business analyst and move into the IT. And he goes, I hire admins all the time. They are the best BAs ever. So imagine my surprise when 2 years later I actually get into our IT department working with Laura. Hi, Laura. And Bob is now coaching us for 2 years. And Laura, funny enough, I do remember your whole 30 seconds of rant music because we were in the same session. So it was fantastic. And so I come one day and I'm just like, okay, if I'm so frustrated with my business team, I need to be in the session, I need to focus. I came with knitting. And Bob's doing one of his like word sessions where you have to try to figure stuff out. And I am horrible at those, guys. I am so horrible at them. It's not even funny. And here I am, and I'm knitting. And he's like, "You're not paying attention." And I went, "It's that." And he went, "Holy crap, you got one." So it was just, like Bob was such an inspiration to me because he saw past the title. Right? He saw past who dictated my career, where I have been struggling for so long to get out of being an administrative assistant and into the thing that I knew I was best at. He saw past all of that and showed me how to become that badass BA that he champions and talks about and wants us all to be. And so, Jen, earlier during the conference, we were talking about those values and how we kind of categorize those things. This is the piece of paper that I was talking about that has, from my one-on-one session with him, how we listed out everything and categorized whether or not I was ready to leave Boston Scientific because I was so frustrated. I was so down and so just having a big problem. And he literally pulled me aside after one of our sessions that he was coaching us at and said, "We need to talk. What's going on?" And that was what he did for me. And so those are the things that I remember about Bob and will always remember, including all of the singing that we did throughout all the classes, because for me, he was instrumental in getting me to where I wanted to be, even when I was having those moments of maybe this isn't the right thing for me. He was just one of those people that pushed me to be who I am.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So yes, this is American Sign Language applause is this. So we've been, it's not just waving goodbye on Zoom. We all do this, but it's also applause. So there we go. But we have to do it, right? All right, Michelle, I didn't forget about you this time. I'm sorry.
You've been fitting me in all day at the end of something.
I'm so sorry. It's like you type fast and then a whole bunch of other people. Oh my God.
No, I mean, I could talk and cry about how wonderful of a mentor Bob's been for me. I mean, I met him at an IIBA conference years ago, and it's been nothing but a beautiful relationship since. I can talk about how he's helped me be a better speaker, but I won't. I can talk about how he helped me as a president of my local chapter in St. Louis, but I won't. I can talk about how he volunteered to basically say, "I'll come speak at your BAT event pro bono. You just pay us what you think you can after you get your intake." But I won't. I'm going to talk about Bob's clothing. All right, I'm going to talk about it because the last time I saw Bob was at our local St. Louis conference. It's the only one he didn't bring Jen and Paul to, actually. He came alone. And I had spent days making CBAP, ECBA pins, all these pins saying, "I'm a CBAP, I'm trying to promote your certification." And so Bob's sitting there to do his keynote speaker. I run up to him and I go to put this pin on his shirt and I get it on. He's like, "Oh, no." And I said, "What?" He goes, "That was a very expensive shirt." And he just put his name. And I was like, "What do you mean?" "Okay, I'll refund you for this shirt." And he goes, "It was $400. And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to not buy my purse this time. So you're out. I'm sorry. Cleaning bill? I don't know, but you're stuck with the 2 pins in your shirt because I can't refund you $400. So, I mean, I don't know how many of those shirts he bought or how pissed he was when he got home that day, Paul. But I have a CBAP pin in Paul's shirt somewhere, and it's my fault, and I'm so sorry. And I'm sorry if you had to spend another $400 on a shirt.
I'm sure he did not mind at all calling up Robert Graham, who is the designer of all of his shirts. He was also the designer on Modern Family, the TV show. I'm sure he was not unhappy to have to call up Robert Graham and order another shirt.
much as I just said that I'm a menace with the internet and a credit card, let's just say when Bob and I got together, and I would get very stern talkings to when I'm home from conferences from my husband. He's like, "Where did you go? What did you do?" And if it wasn't like he knew what the yard store was, and he's like, "Oh wait, you were with Bob." Okay. And I was like, well, I can't help it. We find cool stuff. And of course I need it, right? So yeah. And Bob was also very good at giving any other clothing advice. It wasn't just for his own style. I think we were walking through Vancouver. I think Hans and Paul, and I can't remember if Amy was with me. I think you guys tried. I had to drag myself out of the Fluvog store to say, I cannot buy Fluvogs. I cannot buy Fluvogs. And Bob is like, you need them. I'm like, I do not. Because they're $400 to $500 shoes. I found, and the ones that I liked were about $550. They're gorgeous, but there we go, right? So
sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I do think everyone needs. What was that?
I said with the exchange rate, they were only $45.
Exchange rate's not that good. The dollar's not that right. Oh my gosh. I have my moments, you guys. So you guys, I feel like we could go on for a very, very long time. I don't want to cut folks off. If you have, so here's a couple of things that I want to spin out there for you guys, and then I want to have a serious toast. And then I want to have some fun, and we're going to sing at the end. We're going to sing ourselves out, you guys. And everybody has to sing, because if I have to sing, you have to sing, is all I have to say about that. So I love seeing, I'm like, to meet you guys. I love seeing all you guys. So the first thing I want to share is, I'm going to go ahead and pop this up here for those of you who were in our conference, and I'm doing some switchy stuff here to send to everyone. So here you go. That was actually, Bob, theater at any price. I learned the value of buying Bob tickets to theater events. So you guys, I'm sharing a Miro board. You don't need to pop in there now. Grab it. Keep that link. Those of you who were at the conference earlier today already had this. For our Bob and his Super Friends conference, he really wanted to share hopes and dreams, and his for us, but also to allow us a way to share our own dreams, our own hopes, but also to leave positivity out in the world. See, the floodgates have been opened, you guys. Now I'm not going to be able to make it through anything. So, here we go. So if you guys feel free to share that link, we'll probably put it in some other documents, other things that we send out. So it's open, and you can see what other people wrote, and you can leave your own notes as well. So there is the Miro board link. It'll take you to Miro, and it will ask you, I'm going to double check it and see if it works again, that you don't have to create an account of anything like that, anything specific. You can just go ahead and join as a guest and add some sticky notes and things like that. So I think before we shift to our fun and some additional silliness, I know we've been borderline silly and everything else. I think we need to raise a glass. I'm gonna wait till I see some glasses, people.
There you go.
And I'm just simply gonna say to Bob, I like what I'm seeing beverage-wise, you guys. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed some game nights. Hans is now qualified for Taco Bell. Very nice. I hope you enjoyed it. I know, seriously, and it wasn't that you added fingernails, it was the other part. So I am happy to host random Kahoot nights and have a little more fun with these, because I totally dig doing this. So we have some fun on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of game night, and many of us thought that this would be really, really fitting. Bob would have given us a lot more information as to why each answer is and why you got tripped up on certain ones, right?
No, yeah.
Wouldn't he, Paul?
Yes, absolutely. He gave you the history about that. It's hilarious because I was a chef for 5 years. but he read some of my books and just like memorized all that stuff. That was hilarious. And then he would start doing research on the internet, and he loved to going to high-end restaurants. We went to Bobby Flay was one of them. We got a tour of his kitchen in Las Vegas. We went to Charlie Trotter's in Chicago and got a backstage and kitchen tour with Charlie. It was just a lot of great, amazing experiences like that. Emeril Lagasse, all the great chefs that you can think of. We've had the opportunity to eat some incredible, amazing food. And it was just the best experience.
My one of my favorite food related Bob memories is again another conference event. We went to Chicago and for the conference, and I was very excited to be able to get tickets to Hamilton for my daughter and myself. And Bob and Paul were also going to go, because at that point Paul had not seen it, but Bob had. Yes, there was trouble at home about that one.
There was tension because he snuck out of a conference. And no, he was consulting in Boston, and he snuck out of the consulting gig, took a train all the way through Hoboken or whatever it was,
To see the original cast.
To see the original cast of Hamilton on Broadway in the premiere month that it first came to Broadway.
Yeah. He felt guilty about it. And so, but Bob and Paul take a lot of trips to Chicago. They have favorite restaurants, and they're like, okay, this is where we're going to eat. And so Abby and I keep gesturing, she's not standing there anymore, but she had been a little bit ago. And so we went to Emma. And, Bob's telling me all about the chef, and, he did. And I was like, is the food good? Am I going to be able to eat it? Let's go. I'm like, okay. Abby, like months later, was like, can we go to Chicago to go to that restaurant? Because I would like some of that she wanted the hummus. The hummus, you guys, was so amazing. So it was absolutely, it was an amazing experience. So you guys, we have one final thing for us to kind of leave with here. And I would love for y'all to come off mute so it's not just me, but I don't know how well this is going to work, simply because I feel like my computer is doing a little bit of a lag thing right now. So I'm going to close a few things, because can you see? We got to have a little bit of a song going on here. And when Amy and Paul and I were talking about this, we wanted to be sure that we needed some sort of a sing-along in some way. And the keynote that was the last keynote that Bob was doing, he spun through songs, Sing Your Life. Paul, Amy, Hans, any closing words that you'd like to say? Look, I'm holding it together. I'm very impressed with myself at this moment.
Good job. Good job. Thank you to everyone who has attended today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys. This was awesome.
Bye, guys.
Really good. Really good.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful celebration of Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Look at my Siobhan. Miss you.
I had some very serious moments this morning about whether mascara was going to be a good idea or not. So,
baby, waterproof.
I did. I'm doing all right. Kind of impressive. Hey, we can continue game nights. We will keep making them happen. If we've got WebEx, we've got Kahoot, I can make this happen.
I join. I suck at trivia, but I join.
Hey, you know what, Jamie? You, me, yarn trivia.
Yes.
Wow, that sounds fascinating.
So you only see the yarn that's here.
I saw this list, baby. I saw it.
Yeah, but on the other side, I have a ton of fiber.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my whole closet has more yarn and fiber.
All right,
We need to
so
check.
next time there's an event in Boston, you and I need to go shopping.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
it's on for Siobhan.
Yes. You'll have to take a weekend and then we'll go out to Webb's out in Western Mass.
I order from them, so yeah, you guys, thanks so much, everybody. Courtney, we can get you in on the yarn trivia. We can totally make this happen. Karen, one of these days I'm going to come to see you, and I have must find yarn things there as well. So thanks so much, you guys. We really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off my camera, and if you guys and start getting stuff shut down. So thanks so much, you guys. We really appreciate you being here. It meant so much to all of us. Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks to everybody. Ghost hugs. Ghost hugs.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Siobhan.
Bye.
Bye, AJ. I'll talk to you soon. And to you too, Paul.